When you enter the scalp micropigmentation industry as a new artist, the deck is already stacked against you. Look, you have an incredible scalp that has the potential to improve the lives of others and earn you a phenomenal income in doing so. But you lack experience. You don't have much in your portfolio to show potential clients what you're capable of, and you're probably competing against far more established clinics in your area. All this to say, if you want to make it within the scalp micropigmentation industry and earn a phenomenal income for yourself in doing so, you better take a thoughtful approach. Yet, I see far too many SMP artists encounter the same common pitfalls early on in their journey, which prevent them from ever truly seeing the results they initially hoped for. In fact, over the 5+ years I've been helping SMP artists to book new clients consistently and grow their scalp micropigmentation business, I've noticed the same 7 mistakes repeated time and time again. And the reality of the situation is, these mistakes could easily have been avoided if only the SMP artist had the knowledge up front and knew what to look out for. So today, I'm here to share with you those 7 mistakes so that ideally you can avoid making them altogether, or at the very least, never make them again. So mistake number 1 that I see made far too often from beginner SMP artists is rushing into getting paid. Consider the career paths of 2 different SMP artists. We'll call them SMP Artist A and SMP Artist B. Now, SMP Artist A completes his beginner SMP training. He sees on Instagram the fast money and exciting lifestyles that SMP artists are showing that they're living, and he's itching to get paid as quickly as possible. So immediately as soon as his clinic is set up, he starts marketing heavily, pulls in tons of leads, and even manages to close a couple people every month. But he's obsessed on charging high ticket, multiple thousands of dollars per treatment from the get-go. And he pulls in plenty of leads and does even manage to get a couple people per month to say yes. But because of his lack of experience and lack of portfolio, the vast majority of people who speak to him simply say no. Because he's only booking a couple of people per month, it takes him a long time to really build up his portfolio, develop his skill set, and become a well-rounded, serious SMP artist. On the other hand, let's consider SMP Artist B. Now, SMP Artist B is just as keen to build a wildly successful SMP clinic, but he's willing to take a more strategic approach. Instead of rushing into getting paid as quickly as he possibly can, he thinks to himself, how can I make it as easy as possible for people to say yes? So he decides to do his first handful of clients for free. Now, once he's done his first handful of clients for free, he still keeps his pricing as low as he possibly can, so that it's still as easy as possible for people to continue saying yes and continue securing new clients. Now, within a few months, he has a portfolio of 25+ clients showing everything from every type of skin tone to every type of SMP procedure, density, hairlines, scar camouflage, you name it. Now, from this point, he's only a few months in, but his portfolio is so large and demonstrates such a wide array of treatments, and he's developed his skill set to such a point that he's now become undeniable as a great option for SMP within his area. And as a result, it becomes a lot easier for him to now charge market rate for his SMP procedures and consistently book a high volume of procedures every single month. Answer this: between Artist A and Artist B, which do you think is more likely to build a 6-figure SMP clinic first? This isn't to say that you should be undercharging forever, but it is to say that you should ask yourself the question and decide what you want. Do you want to make some money fast by charging high ticket out the gate and trying to make as many sales as possible? Or do you want to build a successful SMP clinic for sure by taking your time to build your portfolio, develop your skill set, and make yourself undeniable as a phenomenal SMP artist? Mistake number 2 that I see made all too often amongst beginner SMP artists is blindly copying what they see other SMP artists doing. When you jump into the SMP industry for the first time, or even for more established artists, it can be really tempting to just copy what you see other, what you would consider more successful SMP artists doing, without considering why you're doing it. There's a couple of problems with this. Number 1, you blend in. If every SMP artist, especially every SMP artist in your area, has the same message, free consultation, natural results, etc., how do you expect prospective clients to discern who is better than one another. And number two, take it from me. A lot of these SMP artists you see on Instagram are masters at looking busy without the clients to back it up. So by copying what you see them doing, you're quite literally replicating a strategy that doesn't even work. All of this to say, you want to stand out. And one of the easiest ways to do this is to focus in on one type of customer and one type of procedure. This could be female hair loss, it could be male density. If you're in an area where it's popular, it could even be sharper hairlines or that kind of traditional barbershop look. Then simply create content and messaging focused specifically on this one type of customer and one type of treatment. The beauty of doing this is it enables you to build traction faster because you're speaking directly to one type of customer. But what you typically also find is you also attract others who'll reach out to you and say, hey, I love what you're doing. Can you also help me with this? So not only are you attracting the target audience you're going after, but you end up pulling in others too. Now, the next mistake that we're going to be touching on is treating SMP like a hobby. Here's the thing. Passion without strategy and smart decision-making is quite often a recipe for failure. I see and speak to SMP artists often who completed their beginner SMP training, opened up their clinic, started marketing, and even managed to start booking clients relatively consistently quite early on. Problem is, often they'll continue to treat it as though it's some sort of fun side hustle instead of a real business. They don't track and monitor their KPIs. They don't set SMART goals. They don't track their financials rigorously, and they don't continue to invest time and finances in developing themselves as scalp micropigmentation artists and business owners. And this inevitably leads them to decline, fall behind, or even die out entirely in this fast evolving industry that is scalp micropigmentation. Like any serious endeavor, you want to treat it like a professional. In fact, there's a saying I remember from early on as I was getting into business that what gets measured gets managed. And this applies really closely to the SMP industry. How do you ever expect to consistently grow your scalp micropigmentation business if, number one, you aren't tracking your key performance indicators, so you don't know what your success looks like, and B, you aren't setting goals for yourself to work towards on a consistent basis? So with all of this in mind, if you want to build a successful scalp micropigmentation business and sustain long-term success, you want to treat it like a real business. The next mistake we're going to be touching on is splitting your focus. Look, there's an old saying from a Russian novelist that by trying to chase two rabbits, you end up catching neither one. And this also applies very well to the scalp micropigmentation industry. Look, I get it. Early on, when you don't have many clients coming through, it can be really tempting to try absolutely everything you see to get new clients coming in. Everything from posting every day on social media to running Facebook and Instagram ads to handing out leaflets to networking with other businesses and other individuals, even hiring companies to help you get clients faster. The problem with doing all these things is because you're doing so many different things, you never give each of the activities enough time or attention to overcome that initial learning curve and get it to the point where it's actually working. You end up wasting a whole bunch of time and money, and you find yourself no further ahead. So instead, here's what I recommend you do. Number one, choose one method of getting clients that you can see confidently works for other people. This could be ads, this could be an organic social media strategy, it could be posting in forums, in groups, it could be something more referral-based, partnering with businesses. Whatever it is, you want to choose one that you can confidently see works for other SMP artists. Once you've chosen one approach, you want to dedicate as much time and attention as you can to learn the ins and outs of how it's working so that you too can make it work for your business. Once you overcome that initial learning curve and you get it to the point where you have this channel working for your business, you want to systemize it. You want to create a process you can follow time and time again to continue producing more clients. Once you have it systemized and you have a process you can follow, you then want to squeeze it dry. You want to do as much of it as you possibly can until you start seeing diminishing returns. And when you get to that point, you have one system working at full capacity to send you new leads and new clients. You then want to rinse and repeat by choosing another channel and doing the same thing. Moving on to mistake number 5. This one actually occurs not right at the beginning as you start a new SMP business, but often after you start seeing some level of success. And this is having a single point of failure. I remember early on into my days of having a business and being an entrepreneur, one of my early mentors taught me that over a long enough time span, everything that can possibly go wrong will. The danger of this is all too apparent in areas of your SMP business where you have one single point failure. Now, this could be one single marketing channel that you use to drive new leads. It could be one specific tactic that you use to close new sales. It could even be one technique that you use to complete your SMP treatments and get great results. As business begins to pick up, when an SMP artist starts booking clients more consistently and things start to go well, it can be really tempting to let up and take your foot off the gas and begin to coast a little bit. But this is 100% not what you should be doing. Over the years, there's been multiple times I've seen an SMP artist who starts to get busier, books more clients, but all of his leads and all of his bookings come from, say, Google search traffic. Everything's going well, and it's impossible to think about a scenario where things don't continue to grow. And inevitably, over time, at some point, Google either changes its algorithm or a competitor pops up or multiple competitors pop up, his or her ranking plummets, and their business quite literally falls off a cliff. On another note, I've seen SMP artists who their main sales technique, their main sales tactic was that they were the cheapest in their area, and that was how they got lots of people to book with them. But all of a sudden, a new SMP artist pops up who prices lower than they do, and now, unless they want to continue fighting to be the cheapest, there's really not much they can do. They're going to lose a large percentage of their business. And the same could be applied to everything. I've seen SMP artists who relied on just one machine in their clinic, but the machine stops working during a procedure. They have a whole week of bookings lined up, and now they have to cancel multiple procedures because it's going to take them time to get a new machine shipped in. Look, when you're a brand new SMP artist, the only thing you should be focusing on is landing new clients and building your portfolio. But as you begin to book more clients, you begin to see some level of success as an SMP artist, and you want to turn that into sustainable long-term success, it's important to consistently ask yourself the question, what could possibly go wrong? And then focus on building fail-safes and contingency plans into your business to ensure that if and when these things do break, it doesn't wreck your business entirely. Now, ladies and gentlemen, moving on to mistake number 6 as a new SMP artist, and this is moving too slowly. You see, there's a term in aviation known as critical speed, and this refers to the speed at which an aircraft must accelerate to on the runway before it can safely lift off. It doesn't matter how long an aircraft has been on the runway for or how far it's been traveling for, if it doesn't reach this particular speed, it will never lift itself off the ground. And this analogy applies perfectly to the early days of growing your scalp micropigmentation business. If you want to build your clientele and establish a successful and highly profitable scalp micropigmentation business, it is vital that you move with speed. And this applies to just about everything. How quickly you're willing to test new ideas, how quickly you follow up with leads who contact your business, even how quickly you're willing to change strategy entirely and jump on a new opportunity that presents itself. It doesn't matter how long you're in the SMP business, if you don't achieve a specific speed, you'll never achieve liftoff. Finally, on to mistake number 7, failing to master the close. Look, you could have absolutely everything else set up perfectly. You could have strong branding. You could have an expansive portfolio. You could even have consistent quality leads flowing into your business. But if you fail to master the ability to turn new leads into paid, confirmed clients, this is going to become a huge bottleneck in the growth of your SMP business. Understanding how to ask the right questions to uncover uncomfortable truths and then position your treatment is the ideal solution to solve a problem in somebody's life so you can then lock them in and secure a deposit is truly one of the most important skills inside of any scalp micropigmentation business. And truthfully, it doesn't matter which marketing channel you use. When you begin to generate a high volume of leads, there's always going to be a small percentage of leads who are ready to close immediately. It doesn't take much work to close these ones. But that's a very small percentage. But there's typically going to be a second, much larger group of leads who you must put time, effort, and work into moving along the buying journey. And it's your ability to turn this second, larger group of leads into paying customers that's going to be the differentiator between seeing slow, gradual growth with your SMP business versus seeing monumental leaps in success that you've seen from some of the top SMP artists out there. There you have it. Those are the 7 key mistakes I see made time and time again from beginner SMP artists that truly hold them back from seeing the success they want in their business. I hope you've taken note of them to ensure that you never let them become a problem again in your SMP clinic.